Hey, yo, everyone. I hope everyone's doing fantastic. I am doing great. I bring you another toy, toy, toy review. Now, I bring you the Warhammer 40k JoyToy Dark Angels Bladeguard Veteran 118th skill. And I thought I realized that this video was long overdue. I made the other Space Marines figure reviews, such as the Raquel, Nadiel, Raquel. I think that's his name. I can't remember. They have so many yells in their names. And I also did the Lion L. Johnson, which is a Primarch for Dark Angels. So now what was missing was the Bladeguard Veteran. Now, I made this review. I have already made the review about this. If you follow me on my Instagram, you can see one of my early posts was this figure itself. I believe it was the second, third post I made. I can't remember on the top of my head. But this is after this figure that I reviewed, I realized I need to make a YouTube channel. So I did, and here we are now. So if some of you have not heard, the new game Space Marines 2 has blown Warhammer in the public eye, and I want to say that I'm super happy about that. I have been playing the game. It's super fun. If you were thinking of it, Warhammer is so expensive that the video game alone does not cover just the entirety of the lore of Warhammer. And just the lore itself, I am, getting more and more invested as time goes by. So, yeah, and in the game, they have a Bulwark class, which is a guy with sword and shield, pretty much. And this is that guy. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the bone color. I know, if I remember, I think in the game it's white bone or gold bone. I can't remember what the name of the color was. But hopefully the DLC that's going to come up later this year is going to have this as their champion, which is one of their DLC character packs. I feel like I'm getting it wrong, but overall, this is a long overdue video. We'll get straight into reviewing it, and I hope everyone decides to get one. Unfortunately, I did get mine on BBTS, which is sold out, and that is no thanks to the video game. But if you do find one, I've had, I want to say, good luck with eBay, and there's I can't remember the top of my head where I got one of my other figures from, but it was legit. But yeah, this retailed, I believe, $35.99. I could be wrong. I know it was somewhere like 35-45 range, if not less than 45. But yes, we'll get straight into this video, and we'll pretty much start with the box. The box is really fun to look at. Obviously, you can see the God Emperor, I think that's his name, or Emperor of Mankind. We see, the 40k logo up there, Dark Angels, Bladeguard Veteran, 118th, JoyToy 15 plus, because one is more of a collector's figure. Is the side just some more wording for the Bladeguard Veteran, and here we go. Okay, so we have some more unique poses here. We can see some of his accessories already. See a swappable face. So you kind of see his back over here, and kind of a front view pose right there. And they're unique, or not unique, but more of in good old fashioned JoyToy posing. They just do have the layout of all the accessories and the figure just standing there. So yeah, and it comes with the stand too, which is awesome. The stand comes in the newer JoyToy figures, I believe, which started early this year. Now, if you live in China, that would have started, I believe, last year, 2023, in October. So, but for the US, I know for sure this is a new thing that came out in January or February. So, yeah, this is it, and we will take this out of the box and see what we got. Be right back. Jeez. All right, so I really do my best not to drop these things, but they always end up falling out of the dang packaging. So we see his shield already. We see his backpack, which I found out isn't an actual like jetpack. It's where his life support's at, which makes sense. I never knew why. I never connected the dots, but I don't know. I heard they put snacks in there, like some Cheez-Its or whenever the Primarch is packing their lunch bags. That's where he puts his Kool-Aid or his juice pouch and some chips and maybe a sandwich. But over here we see, or I'm supposed to see an ornament up here as well. Some swappable hands. Whoa, swappable hands. Unfortunately, this is more of an accessory more than anything. You can't really take out the gun that's inside. But I believe that is supposed to replace what is supposed to be here. So if you want, you can pose this with in his hand, and then this in his side of his pouch, which actually goes in the back of him. But I'll show you in a bit. Swappable head, like we saw before. Let me take him out. There you go. Put him back in. See the figure, and then we see his blade or his power sword with his already nodes. You can kind of see it. Well, we'll get this figure out of the plastic, and we'll put them all together, and we'll take a closer look at them. Alrighty, so here we go, and we can see the figure already super up close. The one thing that I love about JoyToy themselves is the weathering, the attention to detail. Now, JoyToy is quite expensive. They're not the most cheapest. Now, they do have some figures that are, 25. I think the lowest I've ever seen is 25 or 27. 25, 27 would probably be the lowest I've ever seen them go for like their basic figures. And even then, that's such a steal for some of the figures that they come out with. And the attention to detail, you can see some, like rosy highlights here. You can see it on this backpack and his rear thighs. Now, the earlier versions did have that highlight that most collectors do or have or add to their miniatures, which I think is such a great looking thing, or great painting skill. Oh my god, what's the name of the? I'm gonna just say addition. I think that's probably the best word I can use for that. But they do have some weathering when it comes to the shading, so you can kind of see that here, kind of a wash on his helmet, and you can see it in his fingers a little bit. You can definitely see it. You can see that there's how it's dark. His boots right here. Like I said, the attention to detail that JoyToy puts in their figures is such a fun thing to look at. And as I continue to have this displayed on my, because I got two, as I continue to have this displayed in my collection, every passing day I'm noticing new things. Like I just realized that this here has some highlight to it, and that is super cool. And the gold, just the color scheme, I think Games Workshop really picked a nice color for the Dark Angels. And when JoyToy gets a hold of these, this license or slash figures, they knock it out of the park. And look at that, silver. There's really no bleeding over. So great. All right, so we'll put this figure down over here. Have him there, and we'll kind of get a closer look at some of the hands. And you can see some of his hands. You can see some of that weathering or wash for the shade. Some basic hands. And we see his kind of right hand holding gun, swappable hand, and then his power sword holding hand over here. So each opposite one is already on the figure itself. So if you're ever wondering, it's still there, or it's there. Now coming to these things here, these holsters. Like I said, this is I never really quite figured out what this gun exactly is, because this gun here does not match the size of it. And I mean the handle does, but everything else no. So I have to do a little bit more research on exactly what that is. But this is a brown mold with the gunmetal paint added to it, and the skulls are gold, which is added to it as well. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty simple, a simple piece to have, so, or accessory. So if you could collect these are pretty cool to have. Moving on to the head, menacing, grimacing face. So this is he's all battered up. A scar across his face. Now, I hope the camera picks it up. I wonder if it picks it up here. You can definitely see the detail in the eyes, the wrinkles with his face when he's, making such. This is a huge emotion in his face, and they really captured that. And I just realized he has studs on his face or his forehead. Now in the game, Titus, which is the main character, has studs on his forehead as well, on his right temple, and they both represent years of service. Now I think the silver ones, I believe, represent 50 to 75 years, and the gold ones represent 75 years to 100 years. Now apparently it ranges with each legion, so I could be most definitely wrong. So if anyone out there knows the exact, I can check the Lexanicum, I'm pronouncing that wrong, a website that is true to the lore of Warhammer. If I can find it there, great, but if someone, beats me to it, even better. So yeah, let me know what the correct years of service or what they exactly mean. But you can see the wash in his ears, his other non-ear, weird. But yeah, his hair is real nicely painted and sculpted, real cool. See his gun. Now this one does not have the removable magazine clip, whichever one's called, but it's still a nice piece to have. I still need to buy some firing effects as if he's shooting, and I do wish they came out with a plasma pistol, which they're known for having plasma guns quite often. And yeah, playing the game actually made me realize this is just a bolter. I've been calling the assault or the bolter assault rifle a shotgun when that's not the actual correct term. So whenever I come out with another review, I'll for sure correct myself in the later future. But we do have a bolter pistol here, so that is correct. You can see the wash on the red there and on the gunmetal. Same thing on the other side. Like I said, look at those studs right there. Like not a lot of bleed over with the paint. It's super, super cool. Moving on to the shield. It's pretty basic shield. We can, it's probably just, minor. Like this is one of the few times I'll ever have a nitpick with JoyToy. Maybe mine, they make so many of these that mine just probably came a little bit crusty. It's okay, no problem. Still gets the point across. But the gold and the red is such a nice combo, and it has also that dark wash within the eyes of the skulls, and you can kind of see a little bit of a red, spray there. Oops, a little bit of a spray there. But like I said, not a huge deal. The gold is so reflective too, so it's super, super cool. It sucks though that the Salamander's Bladeguard veteran has each eye socket is glowing red. Oh, that's such a cool thing to have on the Bladeguard for the Salamanders. But if I probably might customize this one and put red glowing eyes in these to match kind of the eyes on his face, it would be pretty cool. Now, and this one does come with a detachable little holder, so if if you do get one of these and this falls off, do not worry. It's supposed to do that. This one it's a hexagon shape. I think it's what it's called. Pentagon, hexagon. But this is a circle. Like it's weird how they chose to do that. And this, look at this handle here. Look at the detail on there. This is a handle that you barely will ever see, and it has detail. Come on. See the power nodes back there. Put this back in here, and then we'll put this to the side. And we see the sword finally. This is the last thing for the accessories. This exact power sword does not come out in the game as far as I remember. It's been a while since I played the game, maybe like 3 days. Yes, this is not the exact same sword that this Bladeguard can use, but he has still a sword. It's still a power sword, and it's such a cool sword to have. You can kind of see the highlight of the gunmetal there in the dark area, so kind of create an effect of, it's such a really cool effect that they chose to give it. See the power node and how it's, now this is the overspray that I do like, because it's supposed to make sense as if it's, emitting light. Attention to detail there. Inside the sockets are even black. Super cool. The gold is such a, red and gold is, I never realized how much of a good combo that is. But yeah, that is the last accessory piece. But we do have the stand. Now, honestly, I have maybe 2 of these stands from another figure that I got. He doesn't need them. They all have wide feet, and they can stand perfectly fine. You just gotta level out their feet, make sure the weight is centered, and you should be fine. And these backpacks don't even weigh a lot, so you honestly don't need this stand here. So you can just collect these or sell them, whoever, or whatever you want to do with them. Oops, keep moving the stuff. Whatever you want to do with them, you honestly don't need them. So the figure. Now we'll do top to bottom, and then probably wrap up the video with some quick poses. Maybe we'll do something like that. So we can see an ornament up here. This does come off. It has a little bit of a peg right here, and has the peg hole there. This is very sharp, so do be careful, because I just poked myself once. Make sure that's aligned. Alrighty, so his head sits on every ball joint figure, or every ball joint that every figure has. It is, I believe, a dumbbell joint, which you can pose it any which way you like. Now, I believe this one only has the ball joint on one end and does not have the dumbbell joint, which is interesting, but he doesn't move a lot anyways, so he's more of a kind of a bodyguard than anything else. And these Bladeguard veterans for the Dark Angels protect the inner circle, or kind of, or they protect high-ranking, important individuals in the Dark Angels. So their primary goal is to protect, and that's pretty much it. Going to the arms. Now, these arms here are very different compared to what we've reviewed already on the channel. These sit on a ball joint, and they have limited range compared to the other figures that we've reviewed. They sit on a ball joint, very similar to Lionel Johnson's pauldrons, but he's a lot more posable, because the way his pauldrons are set up, they are cut out on the top, so he's able to extend his arms more horizontal. So unfortunately, these don't have that same mechanism, or if not the same pauldrons as the other Space Marines, but still looks cool nonetheless, and he still moves nonetheless. Sits on a ratchet peg here going vertical, and a swivel on the horizontal. I think that's what it's called. Has double jointed elbows, which is super awesome to see, and I love seeing that. But these guys are in power armor. They don't move a lot, so don't expect them to be moving like Spider-Man if that's what some of you were expecting. He now this the arms, the hands have the ball-jointed hands, or the ball-jointed hands. So this here is where the hand sits, but inside is the actual another ball joint, and this adds a lot of movement on his hands. Now, I'll say this again, because not like in a bad way, but more of I'll remind everyone, if you're having trouble putting this in, put in a Ziploc bag, put it in, I want to say warm to little bit warmer water, and put this in the Ziploc bag, dunk it in the water, make sure no water gets inside, and let it sit for maybe 5 minutes, maybe even less, like 2, and then you can kind of just twist it in and it should be good, because these are pretty tight when they come out of the factory, but they are soft plastic, so maybe 2 minutes at most will probably be needed, and if it doesn't work, leave it in the water a little bit longer and it should be good. The chest sits on a ball joint. He's light, bends back that much and bends forward that much, which isn't a lot, but his waist has a ball joint, but doesn't have a lot of movement. So he has a lot of movement on the swivel part, but not a lot of movement on the abdomen area. So he can't really move back and forth, but his chest can. His legs do sit on a, can't remember which one these were sitting on. I believe these sit on a ball joint. Yeah, sit on a ball joint in the hips, the knees, and it also has a thigh swivel. So if you can get extra range with that. The knees sit on double jointed joints, and these look weird, but they're so cool to have that option with these with this power armor. You can definitely add, such a stoic pose with him, if you want to create diorama set or scenes, which hopefully I can get into in the future whenever I get my own place. I can definitely see using that feature. The feet sit on a ball joint as well, not similar to the hands, but a ball joint nonetheless. And then the toes, never in a swivel. Or, swivel, not swivel joint, a rocker joint. Jeez, I forgot what these were called again. Oh, man. But, well, yeah, this is a really, really nice figure, and JoyToy just knocks it out the park. So I will show you what this sword does, and I'm glad that I can get to show you right now. This sword can pop in. Look at that. Come on, this is so cool. And if you can see in the back is where you can put these. You can put whichever one you want, which I probably put the one with the gun inside. Pop that in. It should be good. And these sit so this side armor piece does not come off. And nor does this one. It does not. So if you want to definitely customize these, you can. But these right here, I believe, do not come off. And nor do these. So do not rip this off, because it's a pretty soft plastic, but I'm sure under the right temperatures they will break. And also the thrusters, they move. Mine are a little bit more stiff, but they move nonetheless, and they all move actually. So if you're interested in that, super cool to have. So we'll swap out the hands, put some put them in some different poses, and we'll end the video and give my conclusion. Be right back. Alrighty, so here's one pose that I thought I'd put him in. And yeah, it's not really that hard putting him in these poses. Now, because he is the Bladeguard, he will have a little bit of limited room or articulation because of this piece right here, this heraldry jousting protective piece there. And yeah, I mean, but other than that, his legs move well. He's real easy to work with, and those hands do take a little bit of working to get into the joint, but like I said, warm water will do the trick. Alrighty, here goes. I want to say a good pose to put him in with his sword and shield. Now, actually, let me replace his head with his non-helmeted head. So, as I was putting on the head, this piece fell off. It actually does come off. So, you just pop it back in and it should be good to go. So, that's how he looks with his non-helmeted helmet or head. So, conclusion. This is a phenomenal figure to have. It is, I believe, $13.90 or $32.99, which is not expensive for the JoyToy brand, but it is very, very worth it. If you can find them, if BBTS does do a restock, which I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. It has been sold out for quite a while though, but because JoyToy is based in China, it does take some time to ship all of the merchandise over here, and it will take some time. I had to wait on a couple figures for the Dark Angels. I believe it was Nadiel, Ezekiel, and someone else. It did take time for them to go in stock because it's been out of stock for quite a while. So do not worry. I'm sure BBTS will do a restock. It's just a matter of when they get it from China. And because of the Space Marines game, I'm very sure that they will most definitely come out with more figures in there on their website. But this figure, Dark Angels fan, must have. I have two because I have a little diorama setting that I want to do whenever I have more space to work with. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoys this video. If everyone is enjoying Space Marines, let me know. I'll be interested to see what everyone else's classes or what classes they are running. I'm doing the Bulwark. I still have ways to go. I'm still learning some of the parry system or the parrying system in there. A little bit tricky, but oh my gosh, substantial is crazy hard to get down right. But yeah, like I said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below what version or what JoyToy figure you're waiting on. And yeah, let me know what you think of this figure. See you in the next video. Bye.